Morning, everybody. My name is Jared O'Leary. I've been drumming since 1998. I got stuff to work on. So today I'm going to be working on isolated diddles. So isolated diddles is an exercise that's under the technique section on my YouTube channel and my website and whatnot. Now, this exercise is a great way to make it so that you can compare your right hand diddles with your left hand diddles and making sure that they're lining up, especially on that second note. Now, in these practice streams, I'd like to share what I'm working on and how I'm working on stuff. In all of the practice streams, there are actually timestamps in the description so you can see what I was practicing or what I was talking about in the nearly 400 streams that are on here. And anytime people ask me questions, I will often go back and edit those down into a more refined response, and I will put them in this drumming tips playlist. There's just under 100 videos in here, 99 actually, with a bunch of questions that have been answered throughout all the few hundred streams that we've done and whatnot. Now, the ones that say members first, by the way, are all scheduled to release for free. So there's 460 around that are scheduled to release over the next year and a half at the moment, with more to come. So if you want early access, it's 99 cents. Otherwise, just wait. I promise it's all coming out. I'm not selling you books. I don't sell apps. I don't sell a course. I don't teach privately. You can't buy stuff from me. I mean, technically there's merch, but this is I rarely talk about that. Anyways, we are going to be practicing, so I need to get motivated here with the great sage Shia LaBeouf. And Shia LaBeouf here is going to help me out, get me motivated to practice the drums. So I'm going to hide him because of copyright. He's here, though. Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow, so just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it. Some people dream success. Well, you're going to wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. You should get to the point where anyone else would quit, and you're not going to stop there. No, what are you waiting for? Do it. Just do it. Yes, you can. Just do it. What is he grabbing when he does that? Your dreams. If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. Oh, yeah, Shia LaBeouf, thanks. I needed that. I'm super tired this morning, so if you ask questions and my responses are just meh, my apologies in advance. It's one of those mornings. All right. This is my website, which is linked up here, jaredoleary.com/drum. There's over 2,000 exercises on here. So we got 62 chop exercises. We've got over 1,000 grid variations, 419 for triplet, 577 for 16th note, and the very last one, 36 wacky grid variations like hurt the grid and whatnot. We've got a bunch of limb independent stuff. I was practicing that yesterday, and I'll practice that again tomorrow. And then we've got just under 500 marching bass exercises, some drumline cadences and whatnot, and just under 400 technique exercises. This is where I'm going to spend most of my time practicing today, is just working through this. But if you want to find the drumming tips playlist that I was mentioning, as well as that live stream one, you can find them at the bottom under the tips and lessons, as well as some scripted videos where I'm not just off the cuff responding to people in various chats and whatnot, but took some time to actually think through exactly what do I want to say when I'm teaching traditional grip or match grip or whatever. Now, I'm going to warm up, and I'm going to warm up with just a classic exercise. So we'll just go ahead and go with triplet diddle, and we'll do the 4-count variation here. There's several different variations of exercises in this particular playlist. And again, all these members first ones, they're all coming out for free. Early access is 99 cents, but again, that's 100% optional. You don't have to pay for my content. But under here, 4 counts, triplet diddle, boop. Okay, so we're going to warm up with this, and let me set this to the higher resolution. Thank you. All these play-alongs, you can go to whatever BPM you want, just by going in the timestamps in the description. You can be like, I want to start at 47, like Agent 47 BPM. Cool, you can do that. Or you can start at 171, whatever you want to do. Let me turn up the volume so we can hear this a little bit better. And let's see here. I'm going to just start off at a nice 120, and we'll go up by 10 clicks. Actually, we'll start at 140. We'll go up by 10 clicks each rep. Yeah, just to warm up. Here we go. If you click a BPM that ends with a 0 or a 5, it'll give you a few seconds to get yourself set up. Otherwise, it immediately taps off like this. little slow. Yeah, slow down on the extended roll. I'm so sorry. Unsub. I know. We're warming up. Doesn't matter. Not allowed to make mistakes. Not an option. Alright, 150. Mm-hmm. 160. Again, the range on this is 40 all the way up to 200 beats a minute. All these play-alongs go up one click at a time, so you can really hone it in. Madness. It is madness that I have over 2,000 play-alongs available for you to practice. You're welcome. 170. After we finish this warm-up, we'll stretch and massage. This is just to get the blood flowing. And then we're going to work on the exercise. Isolated diddles. $180. 160 is like a really good tempo to aim for if you're in like a high school drumline, like to be able to play at a roll exercise. Like that's a good goal to go for. $190. And normally what I'd recommend is just go up one click at a time. But again, this is warming up. So we're just jumping up by tens. Then we'll stretch and massage. And then when we work on isolated diddles, we'll slow it down. Oh, and to be clear, when I say 160 for the goal BPM for high school lines, that's for triplets, not for 16ths. Good luck with that. Okay, so I mentioned that like the ones that end with 0 and 5s will give you a few seconds to tap off, like before it taps off. But the very last one, 200, it just immediately taps off. So just FYI, be ready for it. Sweet. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. Now, this is just one of thousands of exercises. So we'll use this to warm up. But if you go to the Home tab, since I showed you on my website, I'll show you on here. If you scroll down, we've got all the chop exercises here. Gaming stuff, because I'm a nerd. We've got over 1,000 grid variations. You have to click to actually show all of those playlists. We've got limb independent stuff, marching bass stuff, drumline cadences, computer science stuff, because again, I'm a nerd. But the technique stuff, in order to find this triplet diddle play along, you actually have to click to expand again and scroll all the way to the bottom. It's inside of there under the triplet diddle variations. And then underneath that is where you can find over 13 hours of free drumming tips, drumming lessons, and then a few hundred live streams, etc. Now, we just warmed up. Let's stretch and massage. So the first stretch that I'm going to do is going to stretch the sides of the forearm. So hold them, palms facing up. And and then you pull in, you push through. Ooh, weird. Yeah. There's a video that is under the drumming lessons playlist on my home tab that shows you better camera angles of these stretches, so you can check that out. Okay. So I see what you're doing. You're just being racist. That's cool. Hey, sorry, no bigots allowed. Bye! Didn't realize what you were doing there. It's cute. So adorable. Except racism's not allowed in the stream. Now, we're going to stretch the underside of the forearm. So we're going to pull back like this. So you could do it like this. You could do it the way that I was just demonstrating right there. But I'm going to do it on the wall. So the lower you go, the deeper the stretch. Okay? So here. And we're stretching. And now we're going to stretch the top side of the forearm. So you could do it like this. You could do 2 fingers at a time, 2 fingers at a time. Gives it a deeper stretch. Yesterday I demonstrated on the drums where you can just do it on your legs like this, or even your pad. But I'm going to do it on the wall. The higher you go, the deeper the stretch. Don't put all your weight into it. You don't want to rip stuff. That's bad. And now the last stretch I'm going to do is finger to finger. So I'm doing thumb to thumb. I'm awesome sauce. Yes, it is a spicy sauce though, so just FYI before you try and taste any awesome sauce. Got that ghost pepper in it. Finger to finger. Do. I was like wondering like why was the comment like worded weirdly? And then was like, oh, that's what they're trying to say. Again, this is not the space for that. There's 0 tolerance for that kind of behavior. We're just here to, you know, enjoy drumming or gaming or computer science stuff. But if you're going to come in here and be hateful, nah, you're out. Goodbye. Nobody needs that. And the last one, pinky. Okay, now that we stretched, now we're going to massage. So we're doing thumb on top, fingers underneath. What's up from Rochester, New York? Well, hello. I have a friend who teaches up there at Eastman. She's one of the professors there. And now we're going to massage the other one. So after the stretch routine, we'll do a massage routine. You start with like the forearms, work your way into your hands, and then into your fingers. Do. You learned at Eastman School? Sweet. What'd you study? Thumb inside of here, fingers on the back. And we're trying to get nice and relaxed in the hand and on the back side of the hand. Switch to the other hand. Ooh, my right hand feels tight. This is why we do this. Try and relax everything. Get nice and relaxed. And the last one, base the tip of each one of the fingers, massaging my way through there. Music theory, keyboard. But you can play drums too? Nice. Yeah, so my my friend and like colleague went to school with, we were both in the same doctoral program. She got her PhD at Arizona State like I did, and she now teaches music education at Eastman, so Dr. Bakura Elizabeth. So if you happen to take any classes from her, I know her. Yeah, my right hand feels a little tight. All right, so after I finish this massage, I'm doing like base the tip of each one of them. Just trying to relax. Nice. Yeah, so my degrees are in music education, so like I had to take like what, 6 semesters of theory for the bachelor's, master's, and PhD, but wasn't my primary, so I don't really know. Like music theory professors, but anyways, all right. So we've got all the exercises in here. There's over 2,000 of them, but I'm gonna work in the technique exercises. So the thing that I'm working on is with double stops. So with double stops, when you play two hands at the same time, it allows you to do a direct audible comparison between one hand and the next. So you can hear if there's like a flam sound, a cha sound. So if you're going and playing at the same time and it sounds like this, that's bad. It's got that gada 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 or that cha cha sound. What you want is a popping sound when they hit simultaneously. So when you do it correctly, you'll get that sound whether you're playing high or low as opposed to doing something like this. Okay. So what we're going to do is in this exercise, what is isolated diddle? So I'm actually what I'm about to show you. So in this exercise, we're going to play diddles on one hand, isolated, so there's no release. They're just out in the open on their own. And then we're going to play them as double stops. Then we're going to play them on the other hand, and then play them as double stops again. So the exercise is underneath the technique section. Inside of the double stop variations, there are, how many videos in this one? 44 videos inside of this playlist, and thousands more on the home tab. But the isolated diddles is right here, so this one. So the exercise, first line, all on the right hand. Okay, that's fine and all, but if you only play just the right hand and then only play, like, let's say the third line where it's all the left hand, all on its own, you want to have that direct comparison to see, well, does my right hand sound perfectly the same as my left hand? You're having to rely on your memory to figure out if it's playing exactly the same way. So instead, if you play it as a double stop, like lines 2 and 4, then you can hear if it sounds like that or if it sounds like that, which is bad. So that's what this exercise is going to help with. Now, this exercise, if you go into the timestamps, it goes as slow as 20 beats a minute all the way up to 160 beats a minute, okay? So there's a lot of range in there, 1 BPM at a time. You have a question. You can't grip the sticks like I used to? Well, did you stop practicing? And what do you mean by you can't grip the sticks like you used to? What do you mean by grip? Because that is one of those words that can mean many things, like cat. Cat can mean a lion. It can also mean like a feline that you would have in your house. Hopefully you don't have a lion in your house. All right, let's see. What speed do I want to play this at? So let's do, sure, 100. Sounds great. Okay, so basically 8 on a hand, double stops. Again. Ba-da-da-da-da. So you hear how you can hear the little discrepancies when you play them as double stops? So the very last 2 lines, what this is doing is just helping you to hear what it sounds like in context. So together, when you're playing both the hands back to back, as opposed to at the same time simultaneous with the double stops. I'm doing it like this. So you want to have that nice and even sound. Now, if you want to work on this with a wrist stroke, what I recommend is starting this really slow. So I normally start at like 40 beats a minute and just go up one click at a time, really focusing on that fluid wrist motion, etc. But I'm right now working more on a controlled rebound, so I'm playing it a little bit faster and going through this. But Kevin, sorry, my monitor's a little small. Yeah, so what I'm asking about is like, what do you mean by you can't grip the sticks like you used to? Like, you can't play traditional anymore, or like your fingers like aren't able to hold the sticks, or the sticks are like flying out of your hands. Like, there's like so many ways to interpret that. So if you could like kind of use a telescope to kind of narrow it down, then I'd be happy to answer your question. But right now, I'm like, well, is it this you're asking, or is it this you're asking? I'm just kind of guessing. You're welcome, Mark. Oops. I screwed up. Sorry. So, by the way, the first line is like basically what you're doing on the last line. You're just removing the left hand throughout this. So that's the whole point of like doing it this way. There are more variations of these isolated exercises. So this is to work on your doubles, but there's also a version to work on your 3 strokes or your 4s. Okay, so if you want to work on those and you want to play them as double stops, like these 3 strokes, you can really hear, does it sound like that, whenever you play them together, or does it sound better where you get a popping sound in all 3 of the strokes? If so, then you have consistent sounding diddles, as opposed to like playing 3s where it's like that. What you want is that smooth sound, and you can get that by working on these isolated versions of here. So this is, again, the doubles version, but then there's the isolated 3s, and then there's the isolated 4s, and some of them even have releases. So if you want to work on it with like, that's the isolated 4s with a releaser. You can do that with those exercises. But this one's just for working on 2 strokes, doubles. Anyways, 104, Water break. Gatorade. I haven't seen that movie in forever. I don't know if it holds up. I saw it when I was a kid. If anyone has seen Waterboy recently, did you like it? The movie? You know, a Sandler in it? Is it good? I want and 2 and here we go. Okay, so now I'm going to do it at a lower volume. It's good to practice these not just at full height, but also practice at lower volumes. So that way you can make sure your rolls sound good. Unlike my first attack there. Whoops. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring up the heights. Ready, and the go, and just a little bit. Thank you for the like on YouTube. Okay, so now we're gonna bring it up to like 9. Number 9. Same height. Now, Kevin, I don't see a follow-up question. Maybe YouTube. Gravity, it still works. maybe YouTube like held the comment, because sometimes it does that, and I don't get to see all of them. But just guessing, when you're saying you can't grip the sticks like you used to, my guess is, one, you haven't either practiced in a while, and it's just like, give it like a month of just getting back into the routine, and you'll be fine again. Or two, the issue is that your hands are too tight, possibly from playing too much piano. And so the stretch and massage routine that I did at the beginning, where I stretched the side of the forearms, the underside, the top, and then massaged everything and whatnot, that could be really helpful for you. So let me show you how to get to that, and then we'll come back to the isolated diddles exercise. So if you go here to my home tab, scroll down, skipping all of these exercises, there's over 2,000 of them. We're going into the drumming lessons videos right here, and you clicked to view the playlist. So the one that I recommend is this hand routine, Save My Drumming. So that might be your issue with why your hands are not feeling so good. Or it could just be you haven't drummed in a while, which is normal. So if I have to take a break from drumming, like if I can't drum for like a month or something like that, when I come back to it, my hands are going to be like, bleh. But then you just give it like a week or even a month, and then your hands will get better, and you'll be fine. Having had to take like a variety of breaks for different lengths of time, like I've been able to get back into drumming. So for example, the longest one that I took was during my doctorate, because I was focusing on, like, even though it was a music education PhD, it was all research, so I wasn't performing. And so instead of practicing, I was doing research. So during that time, that was a couple years of like not playing. Like maybe once a month I might play for like 30 minutes or something. But it took a couple months, and I was able to get back in the routine of things once you start again. So it's normal, depending on how long your break is. Otherwise, it's a hand issue. You're too tight, so check out that video, this hand routine, Save My Drumming. But there's a bunch more tips in the playlist. If you scroll all the way down right here, there's over 13 hours of drumming tips in this video, just under 100 videos in there, with a variety of like more tips, like on how to practice, what to practice. Because if you look at like these exercises, like there's almost 400 technique exercises, there's almost 500 bass exercises, there's over 1,000 grid variations, there's over 60 chop exercises, etc. So if you're like, well, what do I practice? What do I do? Well, the drumming tips can point to some good exercises to work on different things. But also on my website, which is the very first link in each one of these play-alongs, there's a video right here that says start here if you don't know what to practice. And in that stream, I like break down like, hey, if you want to work on rolls, here's some different exercises to work on that. If you want to work on your flams, here's some exercises for that. So this video can help you figure out which of these thousands of exercises should I practice with to try and, make it a little bit easier for you. Anyways, let's go back to here. So play. Again, this is making it so by hearing the double stops, you can hear if your diddles are the exact same interpretation from the right hand to the left hand, you should hear a popping instead of a flam sound. That first one is a flam. helped you with your Scratch games? Nice. Many more Scratch playlists on my home tab. It's your first year doing tenors? Do I have any advice for you? Yeah, actually, let me show you. There's one video under the drumming tips playlist that I highly recommend starting with. It gives you the very basics of like, well, how should I move? Well, you should move like a windshield wiper. Why should you move that way, etc. So I'm doing all these different things so you can play with different approaches on this in order to prevent yourself from hitting the center of the drum, because you want to have that nice resonant tone, so you're hitting on there, etc. But anyways, so the video that I recommend watching, if you scroll all the way down, since you're talking about Scratch, those are the Scratch playlists. They used to teach computer science education as well as music. But under the drumming tips, right here, there's a video. It is intro to tenor playing zones. Where is it at? I've made too much content. Or not enough. Let's do this. Yeah, so number 67, intro to tenor playing zones. So this video I would recommend starting with. So it shows you not only like how to move around the drums, and specifically to have good sound quality when moving on the drums, because depending on when you're hit, it's going to sound more resonant or a thudder, deader sound, deadier. So you don't want that. So number 67 of the drumming tips, intro to tenor playing zones, will help with that. The second half of the video, if I remember correctly, also talks about how to take these like thousands of exercises and turn them into various types of tenor splits. So for example, you could take any of these chug exercises or trap exercises like chug, or any of these grid variations, or preferably like the technique exercises. There's thousands of them to pick from, and you can turn them into some basic tenor splits to be able to work on your rounds. So like 2 days ago, I was working on taking one of the technique exercises, and I was playing it with some different types of sweeps, so moving from one drum to the next drum while doing different diddles, so moving on the inside, outside of the different drums. So those are some things that you can check out in that video. Again, under drumming tips, number 67. But great question. And if you have more questions, feel free to like leave them in my comments, or you can stop by future live streams and I can be like, oh yeah, that specific thing that you have a question on, let me help with that. Do I recommend any cheap practice pads? So the Real Feels are probably the cheaper of the ones that I recommend. I personally prefer the dual-sided one because the softer pad is better for not annoying people. Thank you for the sub, by the way. And the harder side, when you flip it over, is more articulate. However, the drum pad that I recommend the most, and I know it's a little bit more expensive, but it lasts, is this pad, the Off-World Invader. And I've actually got a review of that. If you go here, it's not sponsored or anything, so like they didn't pay me to like say any nice things, nothing like that. But it's underneath this playlist, so the drumming products reviews. So there's this one that I recommend for snare, and then this one that I recommend for tenors. Tenor pads, I recommend this one. I know it's more expensive, the Quadro pad, especially the new one with the rims, but it is it'll last you a long time. Like I have this pad that's underneath here. I bought like 15 plus years ago, and it's still great. It's just like a little like sun faded, like the coloring, but it still works. I have it here to like make it just the right height for me. And I've got another one as well that's the small pad as opposed to this large Quadro pad, and it's lasted forever. So even though it's expensive, it'll last you, and it sounds way better. But this video, I explain why I recommend this pad and why I don't recommend some other pads, like the ones with the tone holes on the bottom, etc. So you can check that out to see like what I recommend or don't recommend about that. Here we go. 113. Good questions, though. welcome. And that actually gets into, since you're saying you're looking for a cheap pad, one of the reasons why, like I don't sell a book, a course, an app, or like private lessons, etc., and why I create all these play-alongs for free is because of how expensive it is to participate in the activity. I actually have one of the drumming tips videos talks about how there are unfair advantages for different types of competitions. For example, BOA, WGI, where groups that have to travel have to pay significantly more than groups that live nearby. Where is it? Trying to remember. Yeah, this one. Why marching band isn't fair. So drumming tips number 72 talks about that. If anyone's curious about it, it's based off of some scholarship by Dave Rickles. He did his dissertation. He also went to ASU like I did. But he did his dissertation talking about non-performance related correlates for predictors of marching band scores. And basically what he found is that like proximity to the site, like some people for BOA live within an hour drive, while other people like from Hawaii have to spend thousands of dollars to fly there. But there's also like how like experienced your staff is and like how much money from the boosters, like all these things can predict whether or not you will have a higher or lower marching band score or drumline score or whatever. So this might be a video of interest to people. If you want to talk about that, explore that. That is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this for one click at a time, up to 120. And then at 120, I'm going to start skipping ahead and try and see like what changes with the sound quality, with the technique, etc. And then we'll chop out. Ew. Little flammy. The left thumb is a little different from the right. There's a late, by the way. Ba-ba-ba-ga-ba. Live in a desert. It's so dry here. I think it might be in the hundreds and teens today in Phoenix. I might be wrong. Maybe it's only like 110. Woo-wee. Back we marched core out in that heat. Ooh. Don't recommend it. Back when it was like so hot out that it was like, can we like track? Standing and playing is no fun. And moving, getting that little bit of wind on you made it like all the better. It's like our own air conditioning unit, you know, outside in the 110s. All right, so we're gonna jump up by fives, see what changes with my technique. Ugh. And by the way, I'm using a controlled rebound for these doubles, so this is a pumping motion as opposed to a wrist motion, and that is by design. So the reason why is because the other day when I was working on the double stop shopping spree, I was noticing there's some differences in my left hand, so I'm trying to see what's changing just on the diddles when I'm playing with that type of technique. What was that, 125? All right, 130. Going up by fives or tens makes it so you can just kind of collect some data to figure out, okay, what do I need to focus on when I slow it back down again and go up by one? Whoop. 135. Distracted by some of the videos on the right side that it recommends. It often will recommend stuff, and I'm like, I would never watch that. Thanks for the suggestion, though. Mm-hmm. 140. Whoop. Okay, 145. So I'm really focusing on the left hand. The reason why I'm focusing on that is because when I marched traditional. And so now I play a match grip. So my left hand has still got some catching up to do. And my thumb, in particular, I'm going to like over-exaggerate, but the contact point is kind of shifting towards the front of the thumb. This is a huge exaggeration of what I'm doing. But it's moving up that way as opposed to staying flat on there, which is what I want to keep it at. So this little motion like that is not what I want. I want it there, not there. Okay? So little micro adjustments, and I'm noticing that is creating some differences in my hand. So that's what I'm investigating. That's what I'm working on. What are we at? 145? Okay. Here we go. I need to retape my sticks. They're a little sticky. Beta this. Sticky. beta, by the way. Beta is sticky in Japanese, so that's what I was saying. It's sticky. Ironic, the stick is sticky. And it's slightly moved. No! We gotta try that again. 1, 2, here we go. Okay. Yeah, so there's a little inconsistencies in the diddles, so I'm over-exaggerating there. But the second note in particular is kind of getting that flam sound like that, as opposed to where they're both playing that popping sound. So for clarity, what I was playing at first was bad, and then that last one rep was good. So we don't want that flam sound, that cha sound. But as I'm playing it at this faster speeds, the faster tempi, which is plural for tempo, it's kind of dirting out towards the end on the double stops. And I think it's my left hand. The second note of the diddle is opening up. Thank you for the like on the YouTube. Horizontal. We got both. If you want horizontal, cool. If you want vertical, cool. You choose your own adventure. If you want diagonal, cool. You can do that too. We gotta do that again. Flawless. Let me try that again. Okay, we're gonna try this at the maximum tempo. Sweden in the house. Nice. I almost went to Sweden for a conference. I was gonna present at it, but then it was when like COVID shut down everything, so they canceled the whole conference. So I was like, well, guess I'm staying home. In fact, I was at a different conference when they canceled it. So I was at a computer science education conference I was presenting at when they canceled it, and then I was going to a music education conference to present like a few months later, but then everything was shut down. You just brought back a memory. Thanks. Memory unlocked. All right, so we're going to do this at 160. It's going to immediately tap off. We're just going to see how it sounds. It's not going to sound great, but, you know, it gives me some data, again, to be able to practice when I slow this down again. So this exercise, great for working on your diddles, but you can find it by going to the Home tab. You scroll down past all of these thousands of exercises into the technique section. So this exercise is inside of the double stops playlist right here. And the one that I was just doing was called Isolated Diddles. There's also a version of this that has the release in there. So instead of just playing you... If you prefer to practice it that way, totally up to you. But there's the inverted diddle version. That one's kind of goofy. There's a threes version. So if you want to work on this with your threes to make sure they don't sound like that, but instead are consistent between each of your hands. Cool, work on that version. There's also the 4s version, the isolated 4s. And then these also have it with release as well. So if you want to like work on your 4s, etc., you can do that with that exercise. But if you don't like to work on these, that's fine. There's literally thousands more that you can do. Now, because it's the end of my stream, I'm going to chop out. So I'm going to pick something that I'm just going to play fast for fun. But you'll notice that I spent the majority of the stream working on stuff slow. So what I recommend doing is focus on these like technique exercises. There's a reason why there's hundreds of these. And there's a reason why there's 1,000+ grid variations. Is because they're more important, quite frankly, than the chop stuff. I say this as a former center snare for high school, college, DCI, as somebody who's taught every grade, kindergarten through doctoral student. The chop stuff is fun, but this is the dessert. Eat your proteins, which is your technique, and your vegetables, which is like your grid variations. And then you can focus on the chop stuff for like the last 5-10 minutes of your practicing. Let's play something fast. Let's do float drag variations. I've been really enjoying the flam drag variation lately. So there's quite a few versions in here. But a float drag, let me show you the music so you can see it. So if you look right here, so line 3. Flam drag, float, flam drag. So it's a 5-note grouping where you're playing a diddle on 2 and a diddle on 4. Those are float flam drags. A cheese that is a float variation, float cheeses. Again, you keep the diddle on 4. Same thing with float 5s, etc. Okay, so this exercise, what it does is we have the first 2 lines is just the check pattern, and then you put in whatever rudiment. In this case, I've selected the flam drag version, but there's several more versions inside of this particular playlist. If you want to work on it with chut cheeses or whatever, you can. But I'm going to do the float drag version. So 135, sure, that sounds great. We'll start there. And I'm just trying to chop out, so I'm just having fun in the last few minutes of this practice stream. And go. Check. 3, 3, 5, 5, 5, 3, 3, 2. Off the left, the exact same thing. Still check. And then you add in the rudiment. Drag, drag, float drag. Drag, drag, float drag. Float drag, float drag. Flam drag, flam drag. Off the left. My thumb just completely came off the stick. And it was like, whoosh. That's not how you stick, Jared. Oh, okay, thanks. Appreciate it, Jared. Thank you for the lesson. You're welcome. High five, me. 140. And then I'm going to start going up by 10s until my arms burst into flames. 2, ready, and... Now, we've banned a couple of people in the chat today. Some of which, like, I made a point about because I was like, hey, we're not here to be, like, racist and whatnot. Like, that, there's nothing cool about that at all. So making a point to call that person out. But then somebody else, they're just quietly, they're banned permanently. And what's funny about people like that is they can keep commenting, but no one, including myself, can actually see any of their comments. So I imagine they've just been sitting there for the last 30 minutes since I banned them, typing inappropriate things. Enjoy your ban. Think of it as you were practicing your typing, okay? Ooh wee, 160. I think 180 will be my breaking point today. Stay tuned. We'll find out. Today's episode of Hit Drum Fast. Ugh. And go. Oh, I was late. Feels comfortable. There's nothing to see in Sweden. I miss nothing. Oh, I disagree respectfully. But, you know, I feel that way about Phoenix. Like, having lived here my whole life, I'm just like, eh. It's brown. Like, it's dusty. All the buildings are brown. Or tan. There's cacti. Woo! One of the reasons why like all the buildings in Phoenix are brown is because we get this thing called a haboob, which is like a giant, a wall of dust, like a mile high. I'm not exaggerating. So you'll see it like just rolling into the valley, just like slowly covering everything. It's crazy. So if you have all the buildings brown, then, you know, all the dust, it just kind of blends in. But I was like so I used to like work at a nonprofit where like everybody was working from home. And I was like talking to them about a haboob, Haboob, weird name, I know. And they're like, that's not a real thing. I was like, here's a Google image search of what it looks like. And it's crazy. Actually, let me show you. So you can see a haboob. They're not gonna, okay, I gotta do that. That's a haboob. So you see this giant, like, wall of dust just, like, come into Phoenix. Like, this is, like, the valley. Like, those are buildings there. And it's just crazy. It's super cool. But, you know. That's why we gotta keep everything brown. Do I always press the doubles? No. So this approach that I'm using is using the pump, but when you're playing it slow, you wrist it. Ugh, my right hand slipped a little. I'm so sorry. Cut. All right, 190, just for fun. Will my arms burst into flames? Probably. Don't worry. I live in a desert. There's water everywhere, right? I'll just dip it into this pool of water next to me. Since we're here, we're just going to go ahead and try it at maximum tempo. Need to psych myself up, though. Do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Thanks, Shia LaBeouf. Too fast. Did that sound good? No. Was it fun to try? Yeah. Now, the sticks that I'm using, by the way, are Hardeman hammers. So these sticks are double taped, and they are extra heavy. So you'll notice they're a different color than the normal Hardemans, but it's the same bead. And you can actually find all the stuff I'm using in the second link at the top of each one of these play-alongs. So this takes you to /gear. So you can see, these are Amazon affiliate links, most of these, by the way. So you can see all these different types of books that I recommend for drum kit, for marimba. Yes, I played marimba. For rudimental, concert snare, timpani. Yes, I played timpani as well. Here's what I'm using on hardware-wise for like drum kit, the low volume cymbals and the silent stroke heads. Here's the pads that I'm playing on. And then the sticks I'm using are these Hardeman hammers. So if you want them, you can use them. They're great for building your chops because they're extra heavy. And they're the same type of rebound, just with, you know, less weight behind them as the Hardemans. So I like them. But if you want to find all these play-alongs, you can find those on my home tab of YouTube or using the link at the top of each one of these play-alongs, so you can practice. There's over 2,000 of them, and they're free. Any video that says members first is coming out for free. There's like 460 of them, I think, that are scheduled to release over the next year and a half, a new one every single day. So it might take a while for one of them to come out. So if you want early access, it's 99 cents. You just press the join button, and then that allows you to get access to the like 400 and some odd videos. Or you can just wait. So again, I promise they're all coming out for free. So all these chop exercises, there's 62 of them. There's over 1,000 grid variations. Click the header here so you can actually see all of the playlists, because YouTube only shows 12, but there's more. All the limit and pendant stuff. Almost 500 marching bass exercises. All these cadences right here. Few hundred technique exercises. Same thing with this one. You have to click to show all of them because there's so many playlists in here. Like if you want to work on the triplet diddle one that I warmed up with, you have to expand it to show all that. And then there's over 13 hours of drumming tips, as well as some drumming lessons, and then a few hundred of the live streams if you want to see like the full unedited raw version of me practicing, etc. Can I play some of the stuff with traditional grip? Nah, I'm anti-traditional grip now. I mean, I can and I have, but I just don't care anymore. If you want to see how to play traditional grip, though, there is this video under the drumming lessons playlist on how to hold traditional grip. So I highly recommend checking that out. That is like the last time I will play traditional because I don't like it. Hello on the YouTube vertical. Anyways, I'm going to call it here. I'm going to get ready for Alien Isolation. I think I'm going to finish that game today. I think. But you can find all the prior gaming streams if you click on the gaming header right here. And then there's all the different games that I've played. But I think we're going to finish Isolation today. Should be about 2 hours left-ish. But anyways, I appreciate you all stopping in. If you enjoy this content, just share it with somebody else. Appreciate y'all. Hope you have a good rest of your day. And goodbye.